advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Welcome back to the Chillinois Basketball Podcast off-season edition. This is our first off-season video since the Illini lost to UConn in the national semifinal. That was just over a week ago, 12 days ago. And Brad Underwood is already making headlines again. So first, I want to talk about the players that have left the Illini since the transfer portal opened. Obviously, due to graduation, we know Kylan Boswell, AJ Redd, and Ben Humrickhouse are gone. But there have also been two portal players for the Illini that have left. Nobody crazy as of right now. So I think at this current moment, hashtag the retention, as everybody's alluding to on Twitter and X, has been pretty good so far. It's giving me hopes that the Illini are going to keep some players that we maybe didn't think they would keep in the middle of the season. I think the Final Four run especially helped this team, especially those guys that have decided they want to run it back for next year. I don't want to speculate too much, but I do think the fact that nobody is left yet, as far as our key guys go, I think that's really important. But as far as players that have left, Keaton Wagler declared yesterday that he will be leaving for the NBA draft. No surprise there, as he's projected a top 6 pick, a lottery pick at this moment in time. I don't know. What were your feelings when you saw that Keaton left? I can't say I was sad. I'm almost happy for him. I think this just shows how much this Illinois program has grown in the last 4 years, the last 5 years. I mean, look at it. We've got 3 one and done players in the last 2 seasons. Before that, you had Terrence Shannon Jr. going to the draft. You had Ayo Dosunmu going to the draft. So this Illinois program is becoming a program where if you want to go to the NBA, if you want to play at a higher level of basketball, you go to Illinois. You develop under Brad Underwood, whether it be a year or 2 years. But those were my thoughts when I saw Keaton declare. I wasn't surprised at all. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, year 2 Keaton, he'll get bigger under Adam Fletcher. He'll be the best player in the country. He could go #1 in the draft next year. I mean, Keaton Wagler's guaranteed nearly $40 million with a rookie contract in the top 6 or the top 10 picks. That's generational money that'll help his family down the line. That'll help his kids, should he have kids in the future. Um, those were all my thoughts on it, but no, I'll let you give your spiel about how you felt when Keaton Wagler declared for the NBA draft.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I was shocked. I Venmoed him $20. I said, "Stay in Illinois," and then
Did you actually?
no. If I had if I had his Venmo, I would request probably a couple hundred.
No,
But
take that money back and send it to Merck, please.
yeah, for real, no. But you're proud for Keaton. Obviously we want him back, but this is good for the program, for the future of the program. You want these one and dones, these top 5 picks. Yeah, could he have stayed another year and maybe been a top 3 pick? Sure, but why risk it? Why risk injury? Why risk any of that stuff? Plus, us Illinois fans, we love these turnovers every year because we get new players and new drama and new personalities, and it's all, I enjoy new people coming in, so I don't mind seeing these guys go to the draft as long as they're not transferring out to other programs. Obviously, you don't want to see that happen. But yeah, happy for Keaton. I wonder if he is going to go top 5 or if he's going to end up going like 6 or 7. Hopefully, he goes top 5. I would love to see the Bulls grab him, obviously, but I'm sure they
I
won't.
I had that discussion with somebody yesterday. Do you really want him on the Bulls? I feel like,
Well,
I mean, I support the Bulls, but I just feel like as a bigger Keaton Wagler and Illinois supporter, I don't want to see his career go down the drain with the Chicago Bulls. But they are in a
well,
pretty prime spot to take him if they're going to pick at 5 or 6.
they did fire their general manager, so they're supposedly, going to restructure the organization and all this and that. So who knows? Maybe Keaton can. I mean, could you imagine the Bulls draft Keaton and then Keaton leads them in 2, 3 years to a championship? I mean,
Him
geez
and Matas
Louise.
Buzelis, that would be cool. But
Yeah. I mean, or Timberwolves. Imagine if the Timberwolves get him. And I mean, I don't know if they have a top 10 pick, but if they do, that'd be hilarious. Then I think every Illinois fan would become a Timberwolves fan at that point.
I'm
But
already a Timberwolves fan, basically, after the ILL, INI in the locker room the other night from TSJ and IO. That was pretty cool.
yeah,
Um,
I did see that. That was great. But yeah, I mean, happy for Keaton. And then I saw some mocks have Kylan going like last pick, 58, 59, 60, right at the end of the draft there. That'd be great just to see his name get called. And, he's worked so hard for it. And I think he deserves it. And I could see him going to a team like Memphis or something. He's got that Baines or Bates. Who's that guy that was
Oh, you're talking about Desmond Bain?
that built dude? I mean, he's
Yeah.
looking like a Lego person. And Kylan's kind of got a similar build, similar style of play. So I would like to see Kylan get drafted, of course. And Ben Hummerkaus is certainly going to get some sort of, G League contract or something. And he'll
He's
probably
drafted
excel
by
in the G
God
League.
already.
This is the thing is it wouldn't surprise me if Ben really does excel in the G League and be a decent NBA player just because he's got that style and his game is honestly a little bit more suited for the NBA. He's not a great defender, just jacks up a lot of threes, but I think all these guys, I mean, obviously AJ Red, he's not going to go, I'd be surprised if he plays basketball ever again. I think he's working for Larry Geese, they said. So he's set up right now. He's doing good. But obviously wish all those guys the best. Happy for him.
And then thoughts on Tony Bilic and Mihailo Petrovic transferring. Honestly, I gotta say I wasn't surprised, but I think emotionally I was a little bit more sad when I saw the Mihailo Petrovic announcement, more so than the Keaton Wagler announcement, because I knew the Keaton Wagler announcement was coming. Mihailo Petrovic, I didn't expect him to stay with Illinois or with Illinois this year. But something in my gut is just telling me he is gonna be a really good player somewhere else and we're gonna see highlights of Mihailo Petrovic in the NCAA tournament in a first round game, and we're gonna be like, remember when we had that guy? I could be completely wrong, but I will say when I saw Mihailo Petrovic to the portal, I was a little bit upset. I just feel like he has a role in college basketball, and people are gonna take note eventually. But Tony Bilic expected as well. He had the craziest.
I cried my eyes out when Tony Billings transferred. I bawled like a baby.
Well, the memes would have been awesome for next year, having Big Tony on the team. But just to think about his 6 months with the Illini, we saw him show up in Evanston the first day he was in the United States, remember? And then that was in December. And then practices with the team, makes a Final Four run. Nobody knows who he is. He could have been a coach for all like any other spectator would have known. And then he's transferring to, it'll be interesting to see where he ends up for sure. Whether it's back in Europe or a lower major program. But I'm going to be keeping my eye on Tony Bilic just because I'm not even sure we'll hear from him again. He's just such an anomaly. A lot or very similar to like the whole Matich Vasil situation when the Illini had Matich Vasil. I think he was from Belgium or something or the Netherlands, and he never panned out. But Tony Bilic is a very similar case. I think we definitely got it correct when we were like, this is just a favor for Brad. He's just doing Mishko a favor here. Um, but nonetheless, best of luck to both Mihailo and Tony Bilic. I'll still be following them because I'm always excited to see what former Illini players do in their next school or their next career path. So
We give three schools where you think Mahilo might land, realistically.
I feel like Mihailo is like the perfect player for like realistically, I have no clue, but it wouldn't shock me if he ends up at like I'm trying to think of the level of program. I think he would excel at a program like UT Martin or UT
I was
Rio Grande
just about
Valley.
to say UT Rio Grande Valley. That's his
Well, that's
name
the
all
game. When
over
he
it.
played UT Rio Grande Valley, he had a really good game. That was when we were like, oh, maybe it's time to get Petro back in the
Well,
lineup.
maybe they're gonna recruit him. They're like, this kid torched us. Let's recruit him, and they're the only school coming after him.
I think I threw UT Martin out because I was watching their team last year for some reason, and they also have an entirely Balkan lineup. And I was like, whoa, this guy took a page out of Brad Underwood's book. So maybe they're giving Petro a call and they're like, yo, come on over to UT Martin, the Skyhawks. Nonetheless, I'm excited to watch him. I like his game, but he needs to learn how to play.
I could see Darren DeVries reaching out to him, like legitimately,
Oh
like
no.
being the counter and right role, but obviously it's the wrong play, but he would do that.
Yeah, I mean Mihailo I think could shoot the three better than Connor Enright can, but he's not taller, that's for sure. And Connor Enright looked really small out there. Can you imagine if he went to Indiana and then Connor Enright or Mihailo plays the Connor Enright position for Darren DeVries next year? That would mean we're putting Merck up against Mihailo in our matchup against Indiana, because that's what Indiana went with multiple times against us. They put Merck on Connor Enright or Connor Enright on Merck. So that would be kind of fun to watch. I hope he ends up at Indiana, but best of luck to Mihailo Petrovic, our sweet Serbian prince. It was a fun year of underperforming, I suppose. I would recommend he grows a little bit, but as a short king myself, I can't really suggest that. Nonetheless, let's talk about additions to this Illini team. I did say at the beginning of the video that Brad Underwood has already made headlines, and today was the headline: Stefan Vox, or I think it's Vax. Stefan, we know that. And when you're getting a Stefan that can shoot a three on your basketball team, that's a really darn good thing. But the Providence sophomore has committed to the Illini for next year. He's 6'7", averaged 15.8 points per game last year, can shoot the ball. I think he was 38% from three. But if you watch some of the clips from where he's taking his threes, it's very much suited for this pick and roll offense that Brad Underwood runs. He's coming off screens lots of the time and just pulling up and making it. I think I texted you earlier. His game reminds me a lot of Price Sanford. And if he can hit the three at even like 75% of the clip that Price Sanford was hitting it this year, oh my gosh, are we in for a special season? Um, I'm really excited. What were your initial thoughts about this transfer? I think this is a home run from Brad Underwood.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a European kid. He's, what is he, Estonian?
Hmm.
So, I mean, gonna fit right in with everybody. Maybe this is a good sign that all the European guys are gonna stick around. I think Merck, I think Z, Tommy's really the one that I'm like, still he might go to the NBA, but if he's smart, he'll could just come back because I don't think he's good enough to be a first round draft pick. And if you're not a first round draft pick nowadays, it's like, why even go if you can make money in college and make probably more money than you would being a second round draft pick. So maybe they like this guy and they're all buddies and they know each other. And do we know who this guy's agent is? We gotta, figure that out. I don't know if that's
I don't think, I don't know if they said his agent, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's in talks with Mishko.
yeah. So either way, I mean, this kid's super, super bright future with him. I mean, NBA potential, certainly, especially now that he's coming to Illinois. I think, Providence isn't necessarily known for getting guys to the next level, but I think Brad, he's kind of established himself as that kind of person, that kind of coach. So maybe that's what this kid's plan is, come to Illinois for 1 year and then be a top 15 pick. So I think it's a great addition for Illinois, and I think it's going to be a great move for this Vox. First, we've got to figure that pronunciation out. But I'm kind of upset that his name doesn't end in itch. Maybe we can call him Stefan
Lockett.
Vok. Yeah, Vokic. So I don't know. We'll have to come up with some nicknames for him once we start to see him play. I mean, he looks like he would play at Iowa. He looks like an Iowa kid. Kind of reminds me of
He looks like Bennett Sturts.
I was gonna say he looks like Bennett Sturts a lot. So I think he'll fit right in here, and he seems like I haven't heard him interview, but he seems like he'd be a nice enough guy to have in the locker room. Wouldn't really be drama and Real Housewives of Champagne or anything like that. So good addition by Brad. Great addition, to be honest. It's kind of reminds me of the Andro Stojakovic edition last year. It was like a big one that is gonna move the needle. This isn't like some random like it's a needle mover and it's gonna put Illinois in top 10 preseason rankings for sure.
Um, I was laughing there for a minute when we were talking about Bennett Sturts in Iowa. Do you think Brad was looking at Bennett Sturts' first half in the Elite Eight game, and he was like, you know what we need on this team? Bennett Sturts, but European. And he went and
Yeah.
found pretty much exactly that.
He called Misko. He said, "Do you have Bennett Sturkovich?" And he said, "I got something close."
Yeah, and it's Stefan Vox. So I'm excited about that one. If you look just at his game, like you could not have picked a better Brad Underwood type player. He's got positional size. His shooting off the dribble is really what's going to be perfect for this pick and roll offense because it's not like he's a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. He's a guy with the ball in his hands. You set a high ball screen for him, and if you don't go above that screen, you go under it like a lot of teams tend to do. He'll make you pay for that. So I think it was 8 threes he hit against Butler in the Big East tournament, set a record in the Big East tournament for most threes made in a game. So
We didn't even take this into account. Wait, never mind, never mind. I was about to say he stole this from Ed Cooley, but Ed Cooley went to Georgetown. I still
yeah,
have Ed Cooley in my brain as Providence's guy. Who's Providence's coach?
well, it was Kenny Battle, and then they fired him. Remember, they fired him before the season ended.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's why he transferred out
Or
because
I'm sorry,
they
not Kenny Battle.
They did fire their coach though. What
It
was
was
it?
the Missouri guy. It was the I should know his name. Kim English. I don't know why I said Kenny
Yeah, yeah,
Battle. That
yeah,
was a
yeah.
former Illinois player. Kim English.
Um, I think that's probably why I left. They're getting a new coach. He's like, well, I'm out. And Illinois just, yeah, I wonder how much he's getting paid. That's an interesting.
Well, I had seen a tweet and I was like checking to see if this guy was just a satirical tweeter or ex-poster. And he said something about how he like didn't fit in with the culture at Providence, which correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Providence, didn't they have that scrappy game against St. John's where the guy like took that dude's head off on the layup? Wasn't that Providence?
Yeah, and they have the guy with the weird haircut.
Yeah, that's the same guy. I forgot what his name was, but they do have a seemingly very odd culture at that school if they're just hacking players on layups. But there was a tweet that said he didn't feel like he fit in with the culture, and therefore he wanted to go to a place that had European players. And lo and behold, that is now Champaign, Illinois. So and that's the other thing. If we're gonna get a guy who's another European, like you said before, it makes me think the other Europeans are probably sticking around. I think this kind of addition certainly helps with retention because it's one of those guys like we didn't just go grab the best player in the portal. We grabbed a guy that fit into his role based on a piece we were gonna be missing. Like obviously Keaton's gone to the draft. I don't think Vox is gonna go fifth overall in the draft next year, but he's a taller positional player for a guard, and he can shoot the lights out of the ball. So if you look at if the way I'm looking at this is we got this guy to replace Keaton, and now let's move on to John Blackwell because that's the other guy I want to talk about. He hasn't committed to Illinois yet. I think there's a good chance that he might be getting further away from committing to Illinois. I think Louisville definitely heated themselves up in the sweepstakes today by getting Flory Bodinga and Jackson Shellstad from Oregon. But that's the other thing when I'm looking at how this roster might be coming together. I mean, if we're going to keep Andre, assumingly, if we're going to keep Merkovich, we're going to keep Tomislav, you plug Stephen Vox in at the shooting guard position where Keaton was, and you let John Blackwell take the ball up the floor. It's seeming like Brad is like kind of molding this group of players that we may be getting and the players we already have kind of just to fit perfect positional basketball. Are you?
I sense an issue with this. So let's say you get Blackwell,
Hmm.
you have Vox, and then you're gonna have Andre,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna have Merck and T.
Yeah.
So then Jake Davis goes back to the bench
I mean, I think so.
because
I
Andre's not going to sit on the bench again. I mean, I respect him for doing it, but he shouldn't sit on the bench again. I
No, it
mean,
shouldn't. I would argue the most likely player to transfer out of this program right now would probably be Jake Davis.
Jake Davis or Andre Stojakovic. It's gonna be one of those two.
I think Andre's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is Jake Davis is really, really close with like Tommy and Z and all those guys,
Well,
and
that's
I don't
why I
know
think
if and I don't know if Andre necessarily is that close with them. Like Tommy and Jake Davis are like best friends. They're roommates. They hang out every day.
true. I mean,
So
Andre was kind of Kylan's guy.
right, and and maybe they're going in negotiations, and Andre's like, I want $4 million, and Jake's like, I'll take $1 million. And they're like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I don't know. You're going to be, I mean, personally, I'd rather have Andre. You think he's a better player? I don't know in terms of meshing and gelling with the team. And I mean, that's Brad's job to do all the IQ tests and personality tests and all that kind of stuff. Because,
The
you
AI
know,
stuff.
it's a different lineup. Maybe he didn't mesh well with this past season's starting lineup, but maybe he'll mesh better with this next season's starting lineup. I don't know. I mean, Jake Davis, you kind of know what you're getting. Solid shooter, solid defense. But, Andre is that playmaker. He's really the kind of guy that can save a game for you and win a game when the other guys can't make their shots. But it's going to be, I don't sense that everybody's going to come back like we want them to. I just think the most important one is Merck, obviously. And I think if you can get Z and T, you should. Obviously there's that guy out of Arizona State who a lot of Illinois fans want. I'd like him. I mean, I wouldn't mind him, but it's just tough because Z and T are so good, and the offense was so good last year. And it's like, do you really want to switch that up for the off chance that this Arizona State guy might be really, really good?
I
I don't
don't
think
think
it's worth the
that the
risk.
twin brothers.
Well, that's the thing is, unless Tommy goes to the NBA, then they're either both going to come back or, Tommy's going to go to the NBA. I don't see Tommy transferring to another school, and I probably don't really see Z transferring to another school. So I don't see why Tommy would want to go to the NBA right now. It just doesn't seem like it would be the best move for him. He didn't have a great season. If he had a lot better of a season, he'd probably be a top 15 pick, and I'd say go to the draft, but just wasn't really the case. I think if he did take one more year to come back, I mean, that's when you're kind of talking about like the TKR season, like it's going to be his last year. He's going to be so much bigger, so much older, so much smarter than everybody else on the court. It'd be a foolish thing to just let him walk with this much investment into him, this much time we've put and this much, resources and money we've put into it to just let him leave his last year, which is realistically going to be his best year. So I want them back. I want Merck back. I, and then Stojakovic and Davis is the ultimate question. Brad's going to have to figure it out.
I mean, in my perfect world, obviously this is all speculation. I don't know these players personally. I'm not having conversations with them. I'm not in behind the scenes when they're having conversations with Brad. But in a perfect world, I'd like to see Jake Davis and Andrei Stojakovic come back. I think there's room for both of them. Obviously, you're going to have some conversations about role for Jake Davis and whether or not he's willing to accept that. That's why I think he's the most likely to transfer, because I think he could probably go to a program like Duke or North Carolina and just be their three-point shooting specialist. So if he wants to do that, I'm sure the opportunity will be there for him. But if he wants to play for another team that might contend for a national championship, I would argue that Illinois is kind of loading themselves up in a very good way to do that, to make a run back to another Final Four. Um, Now back to Blackwell for a moment because, like I said, I think Louisville might be the leader after today, because he wants to play for a national championship contending program. He said that when he left Wisconsin, and it was a very big, like, slap in the face to the whole Wisconsin program. But nonetheless, like, a lot of people texted me today after we got Vox and were like, okay, this is going to ruin our chance at getting Blackwell. I think contrarily, actually. I know the money might be an issue, but look, when Blackwell transferred from Wisconsin, he clearly stated he wanted to play for a program that is contending for a national championship. I'm not saying Duke isn't doing that. Duke probably has more money to offer him, but I think Illinois might be in a better situation to do that at least next year. Louisville, very different. Now they have Bedinga and Shellstad. I think they're going to be a contending program next year. Now, as far as the money thing goes, yes, Duke probably has more money than us, but Blackwell's role with this Illinois team is pretty much carved out in stone for him now that Vox is on this team. Like Brad can look at John Blackwell and have a conversation with him when he visits, if he does visit, that look, we're giving you the keys to the castle here, essentially. We're giving you the keys to the car. Like you're going to be our Kylan Boswell. We're going to line you up with Vox. We're going to give you Andrei Stojakovic to give the ball whenever you need to get out of a situation where we can't score on offense. And then, by the way, we're going to give you all freshman team David Mirkovich in year two after a summer in Champaign. And we're going to give you senior Tomislav Ivicic, who's suddenly found that he can score inside and not just shoot a three. So, like, I think the compelling argument here is whether Blackwell is in it for the money or whether he really wants to play for a national championship. And obviously, Duke has the history. But if you look at Duke's lineup next year, they're going to have a bunch of freshmen like they always do. They're going to be figuring it out at the beginning of the season. I think this Illinois team, should they get Blackwell, if they get Blackwell, is easily a top three team in preseason rankings. Like I don't know who else you could put above them, considering what they probably have returned at that point and what they've added to their team in Vox and Blackwell, hypothetically. So a lot of people text me and were like, ah, I like this Vox guy, but I don't know if we get Blackwell now because of this. I think it's the opposite. I think this makes a better case for Blackwell to come to Illinois. And then people forget too, his dad, Glenn Blackwell, played for the Illini in the 80s under Lou Henson. So there's always that aspect as well. I think his dad is in our corner at least, probably saying, come play
What
and wear the same jersey I did.
and what's interesting about Jake Davis is now he's got Misko as his agent.
He
So I
does. I forgot
wonder
about that.
I wonder how that's going to impact it.
I had not thought about that with Misko as his agent. Weren't they saying they're looking for like a Croatian girlfriend for him too?
Yeah, I
Come
mean
on now. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's if all signs point to Jake Davis coming back and Stojakovic leaving for the bag. I mean, dude, you're telling me if BYU calls Stojakovic and says, "We'll give you 5 million to just be our guy. Debance is gone. We need you to be our
Yeah,
guy, make the
but remember,
plays."
Andre also wanted to play for a winning program. That's why he left Stanford and
But
Cal
he
because
made
they
he
weren't winning.
he he made a Final Four. He won
You
what
don't
he
think
wanted to win.
you think he's done with that now? You think the winning isn't like addictive? You think he's like,
I
it's my
think
last
he
year of college basketball. I just want to go somewhere that pays me.
I think well, it's not even about that. It's about like he was coming off the bench for us. Like, you know, I wonder what his dad would tell him to do, like stay with Illinois, or go where you get more minutes. Because I mean, he's used to his whole career playing 35 minutes a game. Then he comes to Illinois and he's playing, some games
30
15, 20 minutes. So
sometimes.
I don't know. I could see, it wouldn't surprise me if we open up our phones tomorrow and it says Andrej Stojakovic enters the transfer portal, and then just some blue blood with deep, deep pockets. You'd hate to see it be an in-state or an in-conference team, obviously. I don't think it necessarily would. I don't know if anybody wants to pay him that much in the Big Ten. But yeah, like a BYU, North Carolina. We already know North Carolina was interested in him. It was between Illinois and North Carolina. Now they got the new coach, and he's just dropping bags. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough get for Andrej Stojakovic.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more optimistic than you on that one, but I see where you're coming from. I just don't know if 4 schools in 4 years is what's best for him. I don't know if it makes sense. A lot of these players leave Illinois and it's proven the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Now, Morris Johnson left Illinois and won a national championship. So sometimes it is greener on the other side, but usually you see guys, Sincere Harris is in the portal again. I mean, Jaden Epps transferred for a second time last year. Um, there's been a lot of guys. RJ Melendez went to 2 schools after Illinois. So there's been a lot of guys that have left Illinois and have found out that it's not always greener pastures and sunnier skies for them. So I think that could be the case with Andre, but you make a compelling point as well. And then obviously it's Andre Stojakovic. I don't think anybody ever knows his next move. He kind of does what he wants to, it seems like. So um, as far as Oh, I had one last point I wanted to make. I was looking at just some of like the state of the program, just with some of these transfers we're getting. I feel like it's an obvious step up in the players that we're competing for at least. Because 2 years ago it was like we're getting Ben Humrickhouse from Evansville, and we made him a pretty good player. Jake Davis is still on this roster. He came from Mercer, and remember when he said he was coming to Illinois, everybody was like, "Is this a women's player?" Like I genuinely thought with that long hair that it was like the Illini women's basketball team announcing a transfer. So like now, if you compare, and then like Marcus Domask, Southern Illinois transfer. And now we're talking about getting players from Wisconsin, Providence. Like we're competing for some of the best transfers in the country at this point. And we're like every team we're competing with for Blackwell is a high major program or a blue blood program. I think it was Alabama, Arizona, Louisville, Duke, Illinois, and I'm missing one. But I mean, nonetheless, it's impressive. And I guess it sucks when you don't get those big players because it's like, darn, they went somewhere else and they're going to make that team that much better. But I like the fact that it seems like we're progressing in the transfer portal as well. We're progressing in the NBA draft. We're progressing in the transfer portal. We're progressing in the European market. This program, even though we lost, 12 days ago, just continues to be on the rise. So that's what's been most impressive for me, at least in the very few days of the off season. It's going to change, and it changes quickly. If you remember last year, I think it was like June when Petrovic committed. Like we were still getting players in June, adding them to the roster. So it's not necessarily going to be over in the next couple of weeks, but I do feel like the opportunity kind of presents itself for Illinois to lock down Blackwell, get everybody back for next year, get in the gym with Fletcher for an entire summer, let Merkovich have his what did he say? He was like a dangerous summer or something.
I don't know, but that doesn't sound good. I don't want him to have a dangerous summer.
No, he said it in the report after the game. He's like, I forgot exactly what the quote was, but it was so funny. It was like dangerous summer Merc or it's
Merc
almost like white.
Madness.
Yeah, Merc Madness or something like that. I wanted to say white boy summer, but it doesn't really fit with Merc. He's just European boy summer, I guess. But I don't know that whole idea that maybe the Illini could have their roster locked down by the end of April, instead of August when we're getting transfers, visas at that point. Um, I think that really bodes well for the next season at least, especially getting some freshmen like Murillo who played actually really well in the World versus the United States game last night. I think it was like the Nike Hoop Summit or something. He had 12 points and 3 rebounds and 3 assists. So he played really well. And then we're also getting Quentin Coleman. Um, so it's just I'm already excited for next year, and it's only April. Now, last point on Blackwell, I think he said he was going to commit like May 4th or something after taking 2 visits. At one point, somebody had said that he was down to Duke in Illinois, and then that myth was buffed, and now he's 6 schools are in the running. But he will take 2 official visits, and I guess his announcement date will be on the 4th. So hopefully that's the last player the Illini add to this roster. I know there's some other transfers they're looking at the moment, but we'll have more videos on transfer players that we're targeting. It's going to be an entire offseason of this. So also, I posted on the Instagram just a few days ago, guys, that we will be expanding. We got some responses from various different people who we will be adding to the team. We're going to have talks with them about what their roles are going to be. And we're also going to have our first DePaul video sometime this week. DePaul just landed a transfer from Fresno State. Um, and we will introduce you guys to Jonathan Monroe, who will be the third member of our talent team. He's an awesome dude as well and knows a lot about college basketball, so I'm excited for him to get some screen time, to get some airtime, and let you guys meet him because he's a funny dude too. Any thoughts? No, any last second thoughts before we wrap this transfer video up? I feel like I always have a better ending to these because it's like we're talking about a game and I could just close it out with the final score. But anything else in the transfer portal you think I missed before we end this one?
No, I'm gonna keep our eye out. April 21st, I just looked it up. That's when the transfer portal closes. So, and they don't have to be declared by then. They just have to enter the transfer portal by then. And then I guess they have
Yeah.
all summer to make a decision. But keep an eye out, obviously, for Illinois players. Once it hits that date, you'd love to see a post like the Purdue men's team posted like 10 guys all coming back, and they made a huge thing about it. You'd love to see Illinois do that. Maybe that's why nobody's said anything yet. Besides the guys that have entered the transfer portal, maybe you're going to see that big post like "We're back." I'm already envisioning it right now in my brain. Um, but yeah, keep an eye out for that April 21st date. It's going to be key. So until then, I mean, I'm going to be refreshing my Instagram about every 5 minutes.
Have you been duped by anybody on Twitter yet? I sent you that post yesterday where it said Brad Underwood was in talks with the Sacramento Kings,
Oh, come
trying to scare the crap
on.
out of you because there are it happens to me every summer where some new guy will make a burner account and then in his profile it'll say like all my opinions and this is satirical, blah blah blah. But they'll make their profile picture look like there's some like big news anchor that's really like credible, and I'm like, oh crap, did we just lose this player? Is Brad Underwood really going to the Kings? And then I'll do a little bit more research and realize I got. But have you been got yet this year?
No, I stay off Twitter, so luckily I don't fall for any of those. But Instagram, I mean, it can have some stuff like that, but for the most part, I know Brad's loyal to the Illini, so I don't worry about him leaving.
Yeah, I don't worry about him leaving either. Actually, thank God they changed the portal rule where you couldn't transfer, or you can announce that you're going to enter the portal, but you can't officially enter the portal before April 7th, I think it is now, which took away the April 1st, April Fool's Day transfer announcements, which were just ridiculous last year. I was fooled so many times last year, like opening it up, not realizing it was April Fool's Day and being like, oh my God, I think it was Thomas Love last year that there was one where I was like, he's leaving? Like, no way. His brother just committed. What do you mean he's leaving? But I'm glad that that's no longer a possibility since they technically you can't say you can't officially transfer until April 7th, so it doesn't align the dates anymore. Anyways, we will have more transfer talk, off-season talks. Whenever there's news breaking, we will make a new video, but we're going to try and do at least one per week to talk about uh, the state of the Illini basketball program, DePaul updates. At some point this summer, Noah and I will be making a trip to a Balkan restaurant somewhere in the Chicagoland area. I'm still doing research on which ones are the most authentic. I might need to call. Like I might need to get on. You know what I want to know? Which restaurant did they go to when they were in Chicago? When it was like Mishko was there, Tomislav, Z were there. I want to go to that restaurant because that's going to be like the
We
most.
could probably find out.
I think Mishko posted about it, so we can see if there's like a location tag. But we'll have lots of content for you, and we are expanding a little bit and adding DePaul as one of the teams we are covering as well. So if you guys are DePaul fans, keep on the lookout for DePaul transfer videos. We'll be making those as well. Speaking about Chris Holtmann in year 3 with the Demons. Other than that, I'm going to end this Illinois transfer video like we end every other Illinois video. So Noah ILL.
I and I.